Hello everyone, Misfit here from cOOp Guys Gaming on the Feed the Beast server. It's been a little while since I recorded the last episode. It's been about a couple of days, I think, and made a lot of progress in that time. As you know, we're working for the quarry, which has been an absolute pain, because every single time we seem to make one step, another step prevents us from going any further. So I have to spend an exorbitant of resources to get new machines and things like that, and we keep on running out of tin. It's infuriating. Tin is so common and it looks just like silver. But anyway, as I was building things that were necessary for making the core, I realised that little generator and chopping and changing machines around it wasn't good enough. So I decided to utilise TMH's building over here, and we've actually got a machine shop, really. Here we go. Got all of our machines set up in different places. TMH even put an MFE here to charge up equipment. So I'll just show you around, see what we've got. I've got most of our crafting resources brought over here. So got one for blocks that are important in building, one for ores and coal. This has got all the dusts in it. Here's all our ingots. Looks a lot, but it's really not. And that's all the tin, and that's after a long mining session that I had. Got a couple of gems, that's all the diamond we got left. And here is all the random bits and pieces left over. So, what have we got? We have a rolling machine sitting right here, and we also got our thermite fabricator. So yeah, I'm not entirely sure. You can't make a lot with these things, but it's just like it's one of these niche machines that you need to have in order to make progression. We did have these before; they just weren't really set up anywhere. So we got them. We also moved the carpenter here, which now has its permanent place. It did have a nice little place at the bottom of the pedestal over there. Bottom of the pillar that held up that weird building we're in. But I've got the carpenter moved here. Haven't really set up. I could probably put a chest there. Haven't really set it up yet, although I haven't had much of a chance to use it. I've been building too many industrial craft and Greg Tech things and stuff like that. Right underneath the carpenter we've got our aqueous accumulator, and there's water blocks all around it. That's why this floor is slightly up. So we've got the water blocks here and here. And here is our igneous extruder, I should say. I just made this. This is a really cool machine. 3 different settings. You can set it to make cobble, which uses up no water or lava whatsoever. You can set it out to make stone, which uses up water and I think a little bit of lava. Or you can set it up to obsidian, which uses both at an equal rate. But we've got, thanks to this little guy, we've got plenty of water, that's all we need, and we do have lava. I'll get to that later on. So this thing is just constantly churning out, well, we can't have it churning out cobble and stone and obsidian and all that sort of stuff. Into a little buffer chest here. And I've actually set it up. So I'll get to the setup in a minute. We've got our pulverizer here. Oh, and that's one like problem. We have a ton of lava, and one slight problem with the lava is those magmatic engines, which just decide to stop working after a while. Well, I know why they stop working, but it's just a bit annoying. It's basically if you leave them on when the machine's full, then they'll just overload. But we've got our pulverizer here with a hopper on top to shove stuff in. Haven't got a chest input yet. I would like to do that, but I'll work on that another time. And this is just a chest for the secondary, the bonus outputs that a pulverizer can give. So that just goes straight into that chest there. And I've got it set up to automatically feed into an electric furnace. This is our 3rd electric furnace because in the process of building all of this I actually blew up 2 of them. So third time's a charm. Let's hope you're a keeper. Don't mean to frighten you. Yeah, and anything that gets made in the furnace just gets pumped out into this chest here. What I can set up, well, what I have set up here is, if I turn this on, let's show you right now actually. This will start pumping out cobble. It'll take a little while for it to go, but it'll travel down the pipe and head into this kind of buffer of a pipe here. Because I'm using buildcraft pipes and I don't want them falling out. If there's no space in the hopper, it will just continue to circle around here until there is space in the hopper. So yeah, the cobble will go into the hopper, into the pulverizer, which I should turn on. And because we're using this free cobble here, into this pulverizer, we'll actually get some gravel out of it occasionally. So it's pretty good, a free source of cobble and gravel. And the pulverizer, once it gets going, is there any cobble in there yet? No, it's just about to be. Here we go. Come on. There we go. And you pulverize cobble into sand. Where's the sand? Oh, there it is. Yeah, for some reason you can't actually see anything in this pipe. And something's not in that one. I'm not sure what it is. I'm gonna try replacing it, see if that does it. No. Doesn't like it. Maybe it's because of that lever. I don't know. I might move the lever back one. But yeah. So then the sand goes up the tube, into this little buffer, into this hopper, and then into this furnace. And then when it comes out, we have glass. So we've got a free glass making machine. If, however, if you've got something that you have in the pulverizer that you don't want to send to the furnace, you can hit this lever here once, and any sand that comes, or anything that comes out of the pulverizer, will go into that chest there. So it works fine if you got a bunch of mixed things and you want some of them to go to the furnace and other ones to go into there. It's not quite sorted for that. So I may, when we have more diamonds, I might replace that with a diamond pipe. That would solve the problem. And you got to hit the lever twice to set it back to where it was before. So yep, that's, yeah, I quite like this setup. You can also set this so that it doesn't pump out anything, and it will just store it up, so that's alright. Well, you can use that to turn it on, but we don't want it on, so let's just leave it off. Over here we've got our extractor. I needed a ton of rubber for this, so drained all these rubber trees about 3 times, and not got much rubber left, to be honest. Really want to get an auto tree farm for the rubber trees set up, so that and then pump them into centrifuges so we can get a ton of sticky resin from it. And plant balls. I have use for plant balls in the future. Yeah, so it's simple extractor, just pumps out, puts into a chest. Compressor, which isn't hooked up to anything, and neither is our industrial centrifuge. This, excuse me. This thing is annoying. Not in terms of using it. Well, in using it, yeah, it is a tad annoying. So this thing was annoying in the fact that I started playing Feed the Beast in the Beta Pack A version of Feed the Beast. And in that, the way that you got titanium was to macerate some bauxite into bauxite dust and put the bauxite dust into an industrial centrifuge. So when TMH said that for the quarry we needed titanium, I was like, okay. I laboured away and laboured away and laboured away to make this centrifuge because we didn't have much. So I laboured away to get this centrifuge, and only then, when I actually put the bauxite dust in, that I realised, oh no, wait, you don't need an centrifuge, you need an industrial electrolyzer in order to make a centrifuge, in order to make titanium. So that was a bit of a waste. Well, not quite a waste. We'll need one or two of these anyway, so that's fine. Actually, I just remembered something. I may set up something that will automatically make tin pretty soon. Tin and iron and gold. That would be fabulous. I'll probably set up a separate building for that. That will need its own power. Now, here's the question. We didn't have much power before. So how on earth are we powering all these machines, I hear you ask? Well, let's show you. We're going to head downstairs. And whoosh! Look at that! That is beautiful. That is something TMH and I both worked on. And I think it's glorious. This is lava power. Basically, what we got here, we have 10 magma crucibles all lined up with magmatic engines just behind them. And if you're unfamiliar with magma crucibles, this is what they do. There are tons of different recipes that you can use. Well, 4 pages of them. But you can turn different rocks into lava. So you can turn obsidian, you can turn stone, you can turn cobblestone. You can also make water from snowballs and snow. And you can make liquid redstone. That's needed for redstone energy cells, which I may build at some point, but I don't quite have the resources for it at the moment. And the important thing is this guy here. All the other lava making recipes require 20,000 mj in order to make 1 bucket of lava. So it requires a lot of mechanical power. But netherrack requires 8,000 to make a bucket of lava. And I figured out on a creative server that a magmatic engine puts out just under 18,000 mj per bucket of lava you put in there. And I think when you run it for a while, it actually evens out at 18,000. So if you take away the 8,000 that it takes to make a bucket of lava, it gives you a surplus of 10,000 mj worth of lava. So with this magmatic with the crucible and a magmatic engine powering it, you basically just generate lava from netherrack, a surplus of lava from netherrack. So that's what we got going on here. All these magma crucibles, they generate lava, and it feeds down into these pipes, and then it feeds into these little buffers. We don't really need these, but it kind of helps in the long term, because as I mentioned earlier on, when everything fills up, these magmatic engines like to just shut off. So and when that happens, the lava generation stops. So instead of having to come down here every now and again and whack the engines to get them started, we just got these tanks to put in just to give it a little buffer so it keeps on generating power. So the lava just comes out and it goes into these 6 geothermal generators. And combined, these generate 120 EU, which is much more than we had before. I mean, we just had a single generator before, and that was generating, what, 9 EU a tick or something, I don't know. This combines to 120. Unfortunately, we're using these gold cables at the moment. We didn't have a lot of glass fiber. We didn't have the diamonds for glass fiber. We could change it up now and replace all these so we can get more power. But yeah, so we do actually get a bit of power loss from this thing, but that's okay. Because the power from all this set... Oh yeah, sorry. I should show you where the fuel's coming from. We got all the fuel coming out in and out of this netherrack barrel. And TMH went to the nether and took his filler with him and mined out a ton of netherrack for us. I think we've got a spare barrel somewhere of that stuff. And when this thing is running all the time, which it isn't, thankfully, but when it is running all the time, it uses about 8 stacks of netherrack an hour. but since we're not using it all the time, it's like a third of that. So this will last us quite a long time. And we also have a little access in the back in case we need to come in and see how all these engines are smoking. I'll just give them a little whack, turn them all on. Don't think they really need to be on, but what the hey, let's just turn them on. I prefer them being on than off. Okay, so where were we? Oh yeah, where the power's going. So the power from all this is going into this thing here. I'll go down and have a look. I unfortunately lost my jetpack when I died caving. So, oh, I must have gone down this bit before. I'm having problems with the controls. I'll put all that back in the mold. Yeah, TMH has designed the layout of this room, and I filled it in with this. Well, yeah, these things are a bit glitchy. These lights. You try and walk near them, they'll push you out as if you're standing in an invisible block. And if you jump on it, it gets even weirder. So, anyway, so the power from the geothermal generators feeds into this MFE. This is actually where we get our main power loss. I think we lose a fifth of our power, or a bit more than that actually. So glass fiber cable in here is going to be the next thing on the agenda. So the power from there feeds into this MFE. So this is like an upgraded bat box for those of you who don't know. Now we have a number of machines. In fact, most of the machines up there that are industrial craft based run off of a voltage of 32 EU per tick. This outputs 120 EU per tick voltage. So if I was to plug in this MFE into those devices up there, they would blow up as soon as they turned on, which is actually how I lost the furnace, because I accidentally crossed a wire, pretty much. But if you were to just put, like, this thing right here is an LV transformer. So it takes the 128 voltage from the MFE and converts it down to 32. But when if this block was in front of the MFE and it had a bat box and wires coming off of it, you would actually lose 3/4 of the power in the process. So you wouldn't be able to run as many machines. So I didn't want that. But I was looking around online, watching some videos, doing some research, and found out that I'm not entirely sure on the complex thing behind it, but it's to do with EU packets. I'll head back up and I'll try and explain what that is about. But where to begin? Where to begin? Where's my dirt? Get this all fixed up. And where's that panel? Okay. Alright, I think the best way to explain it is probably just to show you what we've done. And I'll sort it out from there. So basically, MFE right there feeds power into that gold cable. The gold cable then splits the 128 EU per tick per transformer. So, right, okay, I'll explain it this way as well. When it says 128 EU per tick, it's kind of like a voltage and a power, but they're both measured in EU, which is a bit confusing. But EU per tick is the voltage and EU is the power. So the MFE pumps out 128 EU per tick as a voltage, and it also pumps out 128 EU power. So when it reaches this gold cable, all 4 of the transformers receive 128 EU per tick voltage, but each of them only gets 1/4 of the power, which just happens to be 32 EU per tick. Nope, that doesn't make any sense. Oh yeah, it does make sense. That makes sense. So I'm confusing myself here. So then the transformers feed into these bat boxes, And it converts the voltage from 128 EU per tick down to 32. It also maintains its 32 EU per tick power. And here's the good bit. You can connect the 4 bat boxes together. So the voltage is now 32 EU per tick, and I'm going to go get an EU reader just to prove this. So it will combine it to 32 EU per tick, the voltage, but the power gets recombined back up to 128. So you can get 128 EU through a 32 EU per tick voltage wire. And just to prove that, let's see. Is our furnace on? Let's throw something in the furnace just to show you that this works. Why did I check the chest? There'll be nothing in there. Have I got cobble on me? Yeah, I do. Alright, so the furnace is on. It's drawing in 3 EU. Where to find a good place to measure this? Okay, here's the best way of demonstrating this. We have an industrial electrolyzer here now, part of the tour. This thing requires 128 EU per tick and 128 EU, so it requires both. So exactly the output of an MFE. Normally, you can't put those two on the same circuit. They'll connect them with the same wire, which this is. If you see it here, copper wire. And down to this. This is just a transformer. I don't necessarily have to have this here. And this wire. So normally you can't connect them together without putting a transformer upgrade in that furnace. And as you saw earlier on, it didn't have one. So if I flick this switch, industrial electrolyzer will be on, and the electric furnace did not blow up. Now I know normally this was connected with a wire before. And just I'm not going to go through the whole thing and just replace that wire, but just trust me on this. Replacing that transformer with a wire, these two machines can operate and they don't blow up. Although that will run out of power because this will suck all the power up. Or that will just stop working because that's using some of the power. But yeah, that's a really handy way of maximizing your power. It's kind of flaring it out. And if you get an MFSU, you could do the same thing. But what you would do is you would have your, let's say you had your MFSU there. Excuse me. Feeding into, oh, I've run out of blocks. Oh, that's a shame. So you'd have like 4 LV transformers above the MFSU, and each of those transformers would feed into the MFEs, which would then convert it down into bat boxes, and then you could run it on any machine but still have all the power, which is really good. Actually, it's a miracle that this thing even works on, because technically this is a 32 EU per tick voltage, but it works on. I don't know how this stuff works. I've got an idea, but some of the terminology just doesn't add up. Anyway, so what was I saying? Yeah, so I told you earlier on about the hassle I had with the centrifuge trying to make titanium and not being able to make titanium. Then I figured out you needed an industrial electrolyzer. So we made one of them back when we were over there. Didn't work at all. We tried charging up a bat box. We did have an MFE, but the MFE shouldn't hold enough charge to utilize this thing properly. So I figured, why are we staying over there? Let's just come over here. So that's when I brought stuff over here, and that's when we set up this power. And most of this entire setup was put together just to get that thing working. It was the latest in a long line of successive steps to get to the quarry, which every step we were hindered at. So we put the titanium in, and we got our, we put the bauxite in, and we got our titanium dust. We're like, right, Let's smelt this and make a quarry. Smelt the titanium, make a diamond drill, make the quarry. Because the diamond drill was the only thing that was holding us back. But here's the kicker. You can't smelt titanium. In order to make titanium dust into an ingot, you need an industrial blast furnace. And our resources were already dwindling at this stage, and I went in a fit of rage. So yeah, so I took a break from trying to make the quarry. I did all this setup, which took me a few hours, but I got it all nicely done. But then I just thought, okay, let's have a look and see how much an industrial blast furnace costs. Used up a lot of the last of our resources, and then we built it over here. There we go, industrial blast furnace, it's done. After all the effort as well of making that blast furnace outside, we've got this one here, which does the same thing, but a little better, I think. Although, I just learned today, you can actually make steel with the Railcraft mod pretty easily. All you need is a train workbench, and then, what's it? Train workbench, and you put a clay ball in the middle, surrounded by 8 coal dust, turns into 8 graphite. And then you put 3 iron in a line with a graphite underneath, and that gives you steel dust, and then you can just smelt that, and it gives you steel. Can't believe that blast furnace out there is not only now redundant, but also wasn't necessary in the first place. Right, so we got our industrial blast furnace. This is just standard machine casing. Over time, we'll upgrade it, maybe to the mid-level. I don't know about the advanced level yet. That'll be all a long ways off. The only problem with these two machines is that the MFE outputs 128. These machines both need 128 exactly. If it's any less than 128, it will not work. I don't know if you go over 128 and they blow up. I hope to God they don't. But in any case, the current setup is perfect for them, kind of. Only problem with this is that if it takes up the entire output of this, but if any machines upstairs are running, if there was a wire here connecting them, and if any of the machines upstairs were running, they would kind of stagger to run, because this thing would draw almost all the power, but there wouldn't be enough because some of the power is getting sent to the machines. So that's why I put this transformer in. Just a regular LV transformer. This is actually how I lost the second electric furnace, because I put a medium transformer in here. Don't know how that worked, but when I turned on the transformer to reverse the inputs and outputs, it blew up the furnace and all this copper wire. That was a nightmare. So yeah, I replaced it with this low voltage transformer, which doesn't seem to impede the progress at all. So if it comes up with a problem later on, I'll just take this out and I'll replace it with a wire, and I'll just change the sign to say remove wire when using either of these two big heavy duty machines. But if I do need to turn any of these on, flip this lever, and what happens is, as I said a minute ago, the inputs and the outputs of the transformer get reversed. So instead of drawing power from this wire and transmitting it through this one, it will instead try and draw power from here and send it out there. But since there is no power to draw from here, it essentially just turns off this connection, so it shuts it off. So now this MFE is only powering the electrolyzer and the blast furnace. And, let's see, I'm trying to see if I've got any dust or something to try and get this thing up and running, just to show you. Oh, almost. Steel. Can we make some steel? Let's make some steel. Got a little bit of steel, let's make a little bit more. In fact, I want a stack of steel, I have decided. I built this thing, it's my decision. Here we go, we're gonna make some steel. And I have no idea what this is going to do to our power drain, but actually let's double check the recipes for making steel in this thing. Oh, you need dust. You need coal dust. Or dust, coal dust makes dark ashes. No idea what dark ashes are for yet. Oh, and you can make refined iron from pyrite. Oh, that's that. Oh, and an empty cell. That might be really handy. Oh, but it needs calcium carbonate. We can make aluminium. Do you need a blast furnace to make aluminium? Chrome. Tungsten. Tungsten. No, this thing isn't hot enough for tungsten. Oh, it's not even hot enough for aluminium. I was going to test it with aluminium. Steel. Dust. Iron dust. And silicon. Oh, wow. Well, looks like we might be able to get some solar panels pretty soon then. There's some. How do we get our silicon plates? Okay, well, I don't think I've got any iron dust. Unless there's some kicking about in here. Now let's just shut all this off. Excuse me. Oh wait a minute, let's check the dust. Ferrous dust. No iron dust. Alright, tell you what. Let's just use this machine. I love these machines. I love using machines. Let's just pulverize this. Wait. 1 second. Does that use pulverized iron dust? I know it uses iron dust, but does it use pulverized iron dust? Let's double check. Recipes. Iron dust. Pulverized iron dust, and we need coal dust. 2 coal dust for every iron, so I need 2 stacks of coal in there. That's cool. Let's get this thing cooking anyway. So, alright, let's shove that back in there, and we're gonna need 2 stacks of coal. Don't know why we... Actually, I'm only gonna make 1, like, half stack of steel. You don't need too much of it. One stack of coal. Alright, well, I'll get these things ready, and then we will see the industrial blast furnace in action. Well, it looks like they've changed yet another thing between Beta Pack 8 and the Minecraft pack, which is the one we're using. Which is that before, if you put lava into a centrifuge, well, before it was in cells, now you can put lava on its own into the centrifuge. You got tin, iron, gold, and sulfur. Now, it's changed to tin, copper, electrum, and tungsten. Bit of a bit disappointment, and I wanted the iron and gold from it. But to be perfectly honest, tin and copper is stuff that we desperately need. Electrum we'll find a use for. That'll actually be very useful for making circuits and advanced circuits and stuff like that. And tungsten can't really use just yet, but we will find a use. In the meantime, this should be finished. Yep, there we go. So let's go downstairs. Let's shut this off before it overheats. Oh, right. I was wondering how that was getting power. These machines here still, all the mechanical machines still use up lava. So these machines can still be running when these things are. Although I don't know what it will do to the lava that's stored up in here, but it's okay. I think it will just keep up. Excuse me. So, these things are powered. So let's shove in pulverized iron. coal dust, and we will start making some steel. Now, are these things keeping up? Bat box is fine. MFE should be charging, and oh yeah. In fact, I want to take them back out for 1 second. Because what I do like about this... Hurry up and finish. Hurry up and finish. Finish. Steel ingot and dark ashes. There we go. Yeah, this probably is using up faster than it can generate. But what I do like, if I stand here, pop this stuff in, boom! All the generators turn on at the same time. I love that. And if this thing gets low in lava, and you have to whack all the engines back on, it's kind of cool when you come back and the crucibles all sort of go off in sequence. So it goes that one and 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 that one. It's a row of them lighting up. It's kind of cool. Okay, so we'll leave this to make our steel, and I'll come back checking it later because I actually want to test to see how this does for power. But the whole reason why we have that blast furnace in the first place, the whole reason we have the industrial electrolyzer, the whole reason I messed around with the centrifuge, and the whole reason I set that entire area up was so that TMH could have his quarry. And there it is. There's his quarry. A little note. Congratulate him on his quarry. But just so that it grabs his attention, to come here first, in case he tries to make something else, like another blast furnace or whatever, just set this up. Yep, that should grab his attention, so I'm going to log off pretty soon, and I think he'll be coming on in a short while. So, I'm going to log off, but I'll leave that running, and hopefully that should grab his attention. But I think that'll do it for today, so thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. I'm glad we made so much progress here, and we'll see you in another episode of Feed the Beast. Thank you, and bye now.